Hey everybody, it's Dak here from the Ed Boys, and today we're talking about a few new money-making methods in old school RuneScape, courtesy of the new sailing skill. Now, not all of these methods will actually have a sailing level requirement. Some of them just involve new sailing items, but they're all moneymakers that didn't exist before sailing came out. Sailing is still pretty brand new, so there's a lot of sailing items that have a very low supply on the market, so this is the best time to grind out these moneymakers. Keep that in mind though, the prices of these items can change fairly drastically during the first few weeks of the skill, so it is smart to be checking the prices before you invest all of your money into one money maker. If my guides have been helpful to you, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. It really helps the video out. And if you want to support even more, check out my Twitter account, which is linked in the description. Maybe drop a follow and like that pinned tweet. Thank you very much for the support, everybody. The first method we have here is lead bars. Lead bars are used in upgrading many parts of your ship. Lead ore requires 25 mining to mine, and then you need 25 smithing to make it into lead bars. 2 ores is used to make 1 lead bar. To unlock the earliest lead mining spot, you do need to partially complete the Pandemonium quest, which takes like 5 minutes to unlock the island, and then you can charter ship there anytime. You also don't need to unlock the island to just buy lead ore and smelt it into bars if you want to do that for a moneymaker. I did a few inventories of mining the lead and then banking it right outside at the bank crab, teleported to Edgeville, made them into lead bars, and then sold them on the Grand Exchange for 159k, and that took about 15 minutes. It would have been faster, and I would have gotten some magic XP if I had used the superheat item spell, but even without that spell, that's like 600k GP an hour when the bars were selling for 2.9k a piece, and the requirements are 25 mining and 25 smithing, which is insanely low. You could make a few million GP on the first day of your account with this method. There are other lead mining spots as well, like on the Onyx Crest, which is an island that requires 47 sailing to dock at. You can set up a bank spot here, and it is likely to be a lot less crowded than the cave in the Pandemonium. For the next method, we're headed to the spinning wheel, and we're going to turn flax into linen yarn. Flax into bowstring already has been a very easy money-making method for low crafting levels for quite some time. Flax into linen yarn is just the exact same process as the bowstrings, but the linen yarn is currently about 350 GP a piece compared to the 68 GP that bowstrings cost. You can make like 400k to 500k GP an hour with this method, and then you could speed it up a little bit more if you went to the spinning wheel on Fossil Island instead, which is very close to a bank as long as you already build these spots with some nails, oak planks, and iron bars. In the same building with the spinning wheel, you can also make a loom. At this loom, you can turn the linen yarn into bolts of linen. 2 yarn per bolt of linen made. As of right now, it's like 350 coins per linen yarn, so 700 coins to make a bolt of linen, and then they're selling for like 1.3k a piece. The process of flax all the way to bolts of linen will settle in as like a decent money-making method for early on in an account, but as of right now, early on in the sailing skill, it's a very good moneymaker for how incredibly low the requirements are. For the next method, we have growing hemp. I can't believe the Mad Lads actually added hemp to old school RuneScape. Hemp can be grown in a hops patch at 37 farming. The hemp seeds are currently still pretty rare. They're not that rare necessarily. You can get them from fairly low level activities, but there's just not that many in the game. So all the hemp that you harvest from the plant is also still very expensive. The first trip that I did, the hemp seeds cost me 155k a piece. So something like 465k to be able to plant those seeds. And then each hemp that I harvested from it was about 42k a piece. I needed to get 11 hemp to make a profit, and I ripped 41 hemp from the one plant and sold it for like 1.7 mil. As of this moment while making the video, it's more like 26k for a hemp seed and still 13k for each hemp that you harvest. So once you harvest your third from a single plant, you're already profiting, and that could still be like a few 100k in profit for a single plant. That's a little bit more than you would get from like a 10 patch herb run at a higher level just from a single hemp plant. For the next method, we're going to stick with hemp, but now we're going to process it. Very similar to turning the flax into linen yarn. At level 39 crafting, you can spin hemp into hemp yarn at a spinning wheel. The hemp yarn is nearly 2k more than hemp at the moment. The prices are a little bit more volatile than the linen yarn though, so I wouldn't buy like a few hours worth of hemp, go ahead and spin it all, and then go sell it all back, as the prices may have dropped in that time. Just keep your eye on it. What I do suggest is completing the process out to bolts of canvas, which are selling for like 30 to 32k at the moment. It really is the same process as the flax to all of the linen stuff, but it's just like one tier higher in terms of what resources are used. There's still a very low level crafting requirement, and it's very easy money and getting some decent crafting XP, which is pretty nice. Crafting is often considered to cost money instead of profit, so getting those early crafting levels making some good cash is a thumbs up. There's a lot of players that are going to need canvas for their mid-tier sales, and there's not a lot of hemp seeds in the game yet, so you can kind of cheese this for a bit more GP at the moment. For For the next method, we're going to go a little bit more AFK. During the Troubled Tortugans quest requiring 45 sailing, you unlock the Conch, which is a large island that has some camphor trees on it. These trees require 66 wood cutting to chop, so they're between you and magic trees. At the moment, the logs are selling for like 3k a piece. Right at 66 wood cutting, it is going to be pretty slow. That's the case for any wood cutting method. It's very slow right when you unlock it. At high levels, I got more logs than I expected though. You can definitely push like 350 to 400 logs per hour, which is over 1 mil GP profit at the moment with these current prices. Over a mil GP an hour from a wood cutting method is actually insane. I had to double take on that one, but I really was getting over 55k XP an hour, which is like 380 to 390 logs per hour. That's wild. That's a lot better than you or magic logs currently. These log prices won't hold forever, but they also come with a new plank, and turning camphor logs into camphor planks will be a legitimate moneymaker as long as players need those planks for their ships and for repair kits. The planks are about 6 to 6.5k at the moment. They cost 2.5k GP to make it into a plank at a sawmill. If you use the plank make spell instead though, it's 1,750 coins plus some runes, so still about 2.1k in cost to make it into a plank. That's 1.4k profit per plank currently, and you can make 1,800 planks an hour if you're using the spell. That would be 2.5 mil GP an hour profit while getting some magic XP currently. Even just running to the sawmill is going to make some good profit with this, but the main thing here is that you need a lot of money to get started. To be able to buy all of the logs and then the money for turning them into planks, you need a good starting capital. I'm sure we're going to see that this is the case for the ironwood and the rosewood planks as well. Just new planks in the game. Making planks has already been a good moneymaker. Those ones are just higher level right now, and not that many players have gotten the sailing level to even need those planks yet. The next method is a pretty simple one, salvaging. Salvaging is the AFK method for training your sailing. You need a salvaging hook on your ship, and then you just sail over to a shipwreck and use the hook to like slowly gather some salvage. You can take this salvage to the salvaging station. Maybe you've got one on your ship already, and then you can turn it into some fairly weak loot. It's mostly sailing related stuff, right? Like planks, logs, nails, which are kind of nice since they're stackable. Early on, I was trying to bank a lot of these supplies, and when you unlock the port at the ruins of Unka, it's actually a 48 sailing. It gives you a nice place to bank your salvaging loot. Eventually though, I was really just fine with just dropping the majority of the junk. The Barracuda shipwrecks can start to give you some hemp seeds, which is a little bit more profitable, but they are pretty rare. Once you get to the large shipwrecks at level 53 sailing, they do drop a lot of rings and oysters, which can be alked for some passive GP. I made a couple 100k profit just while gathering some clips for this video on an alt account. Maybe like 300k GP an hour with some of the stackable stuff as well, and then not being super idle about it. The more hooks and crew members that you have on your boat, the more efficient you can be about salvaging as well to speed it up a little bit. And then the higher level shipwrecks are going to have even higher level loot. Other than that though, salvaging is not very click intensive. It is the idle method. It's not going to max out at tons of GP an hour, but it is passive sailing and magic XP if you are alking for the profit. For the final sailing money making method on this list, we have cannonballs. But Dak, cannonballs were a thing already before sailing. And this is true. Cannonballs aren't necessarily brand new. They've always been a thing. It's been a good AFK moneymaker that doesn't max out at a lot of GP per hour, but it's extremely easy to multitask because of how AFK it is. For the longest time, there was only one type of cannonball in the game, and it was just called Cannonball, and you made it from steel bars. Now each of the main bar types have their own cannonball, and there's currently a huge demand for them. Let's go ahead and use mithril cannonballs as an example, as that's what Floods is currently making right here. It costs about 900 coins for a mithril bar, and then I can turn a mithril bar into 4 cannonballs. Those cannonballs were selling for 550. In fact, it went up to 580 coins a piece while I was making them. That's 1.3k to 1.4k profit for each mithril bar at the moment, and we can do about 520 myth bars an hour for nearly 750k GP an hour. We could double that pace if I was using the double ammo mold that you can get from the Giant's Foundry. Unfortunately, I haven't grinded it out on Floods yet, so I don't have it on this account. There's also a forge that is on an island that you need level 81 sailing to be able to get to, but if you make cannonballs at that forge, it's going to double the pace that you make them again for up to 4 times the total pace if you're using that double mold as well. That means you're going to be able to profit over 2 mil, maybe approaching 3 mil GP an hour while making cannonballs. That is the greatest thing I have ever heard. Cannonballs have never been better. It's hard to say exactly how long cannonballs are going to stay this expensive. A lot of players are going to be smelting them, and you can get cannonballs from other sailing methods, so the supply of them is going to be going up. But as players start to get higher sailing level and they really start to min-max the bounty tasks for sailing, we might find that the demand for cannonballs doesn't really go down for a while, or if anything, that could go up as well. So as long as a ton of players are using cannonballs, this is going to be a good moneymaker for quite some time. This will not be the last time you hear about cannonballs from me. There's my list of some simple sailing-related moneymakers that you can crush early on to get some very easy profit, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content, and check me out on Twitch, which should be linked on the screen and in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and best of luck on your money-making grinds.